Okay, so I'm just going to mark up a couple of pairs. We have quite a few new people on our team, so just want to do a couple of pairs now that the market is closed, just so that everybody can see what this process looks like from start to finish. And then as you're doing your markups over the weekend, you will have something to compare to. So this is Euro NZD, so Euro New Zealand dollar. We've been watching this one as a team. So on the monthly, you're gonna mark up your highs and your lows. Now, as you can see, last month, price really spiked up. I'm going to use this as my high and my low. On the weekly, for me, I like to zoom it in as much as possible. Easier to draw your trend line that way. And you're going to look for the strongest, most recent trend. So from what I'm seeing we're in an uptrend. Every time price comes to this area, it rejects. And you can even see here, we had an impulse. Correction. Continuation. So overall, we're in an uptrend. All right. So let me put that trend line back on there. Make it green so you guys can see it. Okay, so I'm gonna drop down to my daily. Now, if there's not anything that you see that needs to be put on here for visualization purposes, then you can just skip past it. And for me, I don't feel that I need to make a tighter trend line yet at this point. So I'm just gonna skip over the daily, go down to my 4 hour. So on my 4 hour, I'm starting to look for price action. I'm starting to look for patterns that have been created. So here again, I see an impulse into the high. And because this was such a strong impulse, I know that price needs to correct itself. So knowing that we're in an uptrend, I am looking for price to sell back down. Now, if you use a Fibonacci, if you use engulfing candles, whatever it may be, we know that price is going to pull back to at least one of these areas. And as you can see here, so you go wick to wick. And I'll even take it down here because this is where the actual impulse started. So as you can see here, price has pulled back to this 50% mark, and it's pretty much rejecting and respecting that area right there. And if you look on this higher time frame in that area, right here, we have an engulfing candle. So you can watch for price to respect that area, even on these higher time frames. So I'm going to delete that Fibonacci. Scrunch it in so that I can see the actual structure of the candles and the patterns. What I'm focusing on is this flag that's creating right here. And I want to know, as I get down to these lower time frames, I want to look for price to make its continuation to the upside. So as I drop down to the 1 hour, I want to start looking for price action. And as you can see, in this zone, price is pretty much coming into this area and wicking. And even here, you have an impulse and you have a descending channel right into that zone. And price reversed to the upside and is now correcting. And pulling back into that area. So I'm looking for buys in this bottom area. I'm going to set an alert here. So that when price pulls in there, I can look for my entries. So let's take it down to the smaller time frames. And the reason I'm doing all of this on the higher time frames too is because I want everyone to be able to see that this stuff happens on every time frame. And depending on what type of trader you are, it's going to depend on what time frame you're going to look for. Now, if you are a scalper, you are more than likely going to look for your entries on the 3 minute or the 1 minute, the 3 minute, or the 5 minute. If you are an intraday trader, you're going to look probably on the 15 minute or the 30 minute. If you are a swing trader, they're going to look for their entry in the 1 hour, the 4 hour, sometimes even the daily. So just depending on what type of trader you are, how long you want to hold a trade. If you want to be in and out, then you're really going to need to understand how to identify these patterns on the higher time frames, but then also be able to understand where you are in the market. Because if you're a scalper, even within this flag, that's 573 pips. Scalpers are excited to get 10 to 20 pips. So even from this point here, that's 300 pips. But knowing where you are, you don't ever want to scalp and start here. And then price could reverse back down to the bottom of the flag for you. You always still want to be looking for the buy at the bottom and the sell at the top of the flag. So let's go down to the 30 minute. All right, so I have my impulse. I have a correction that's forming. So ideally when the market opens, we're going to be looking for this. Now when price gets to this point, you want to watch it, because even here, there's an engulfing candle. So price could come to this zone, pull back into down here one more time, and then reverse and buy back up. Or price could continue and aggressively break through that zone and break out of the flag for its overall continuation. So you always want to know where you are in the market on every single time frame, and that's why it's important to be able to mark up from the top down and know where you're at. Now, even if we get into these lower time frames, I can tell you what this flag is going to do just by looking down at these lower time frames. So as I get down into this 5 minute, I see right here that price really isn't aggressively moving out. It's giving us an ascending channel. So that tells me that this flag is going to sell back down one more time. I would look for my buy here and then go there. Now, Sunday when the market opens, it is possible for it to open with a gap. So it could open up in this area, then pull back, and then shoot up. So we never know exactly what's going to happen, but if we can prepare ourselves for that situation and understand where we are right now before we enter, that will help you. So overall on EN, I am looking for price to pull up into this area, possibly push back down, but I want to watch in this zone right here. If I'm going to get if I get an ascending channel here on the lower time frames, I know it's going to push back down. If I get an aggressive impulse, then I'm going to wait for it to break out. I'll wait for that breakout to happen. I'll wait for a good correction to retest that top of that flag. And then I'll buy from that bottom and hold it to at least here, because we have an engulfing candle here. So that's my analysis for EN. Center this more so you guys can get a good. You want to screenshot it. Okay, so next pair that I'm going to do is Euro USD. Now I marked this one up yesterday, teaching. I'm going to clear it out so we can go, so you guys can see how I got there. So again, on the monthly, we're looking for our highs and our lows. And if price action doesn't make sense to you, you can make your candles longer by dragging up your toolbar or scrunching it in. So if you aren't able to see the swing highs and swing lows easily, you can always adjust your price bar. Then I'm going to go down to the weekly and reset my chart, scrunch it in nice and tight. I'm going to include this wick because I know on a lower time frame this is going to turn into a candle. So then down on my daily, again, I don't really see any reason to put another trend line or make another mark on my chart. Me personally, you can do whatever is most beneficial for your eyes. And then on the 4 hour, I'm not really getting a lot at this point because, as you can see, I don't have a lot of touches to my trend line there. So here, I will tighten this up. So now, I know higher time frame wise, I know I'm in an overall downtrend. On the daily and 4 hour, I know that that downtrend is continuing. I have my impulse. I have a correction. I have a continuation. So I want to see what price is doing on the lower time frames to try and predict what's going to happen next. So these are just confirmations that I'm in a downtrend, that I'm continuing to be in a downtrend. So I'm going to go down to the 1 hour. And when I get down here, again, you still have your impulse, your correction, your continuation. So here we have an impulse, we have a correction, we have a continuation, we have a correction. Oh, wrong tool. We have a correction, we have a continuation, we have another correction, we have a continuation. Now with this, if I zoom in on this, this doesn't really give me a proper correction. Price has pretty much moved below that candle and has continued moving below that candle. So here, I see a descending channel that price has already started to break out of for a reversal and a move to the upside. I want to focus on this area here. I also want to see, why did price reverse here? So if I look left and I look in this zone that price came to, I see here, I have a bullish engulfing candle. So let me go back. All right, so that doesn't help me. So I want to move down. Let's go to the higher time frame. Here, see what it looks like on the daily. Here I have another bullish engulfing candle. I also had one here. But this is the one that makes sense, because all of this candle, and this candle have engulfed it. You can also use this one, if that's better for your eyes to visually see. So as I go down to this lower time frame, I see that as price came into that zone, I was getting a lot of wick rejection. Now these were pretty strong candles down, but every single candle after that pretty much told me that price was not going to keep selling down. So if I do a replay and I cut out back to that candle, had I marked this zone, and watched it, and caught it from this bottom, I would have caught that breakout to the upside. So catching it from this bottom area, that would have been a good 50 pips to get. Now, knowing price action, I know that we have our impulse and we're due a correction now. So I'm going to wait for price to pull back into here. And I want to find another zone that price is going to pull back to and buy up. I'm already getting a correction. Price is more than likely going to respect this zone again. And we'll be looking for the continuation of that buy to the upside. Now, yes, we are in an overall downtrend, but knowing what we know about market structure, we have an impulse. We are due a correction, which would be a buy. And again, if you use a Fibonacci or engulfing candles, you're going to be able to identify that price is probably either going to come into this 50 zone or this 68 zone. So I'm going to look for price to pull into this area. And overall, look for that continuation to the downside. But if you want to scalp that buy to the top of the flag and then put in an entry for the sell at the top, you can do that. You just have to be careful to watch your zones, because this is a good 50, 60 pip possibility for you. Make a note for myself. Okay. So Euro GBP. Can you clear this out? You're looking for your highs and your lows. See how this candle from last month wicked and stopped exactly where this candle from 2009 was? So I'm going to drag this all the way back here just so that I have a price point to look at. Also, you see we have a monthly engulfed candle here where price came down, wicked, and rejected back up to the upside. So again, those are strong zones that we can look at. Even on the monthly, we can see an impulse and a correction. So because we're getting that correction, price could pull back up to the upside again. You don't ever want to make that assumption based off of the monthly, unless you're a position trader and plan on holding a trade for a month at a time, or a year at a time. So down to my weekly. I want to identify the strongest, most recent trend. I see an uptrend, which confirms what I saw on the monthly. And again, your impulse and your correction. So we're looking for price to pull back into this area and buy up. On my daily, I'm not personally going to tighten in price. On my 4-hour, again, I have an impulse. I have a correction. Again, you can pull a fib. Price is respecting the 61.8 area. So I want to look and see on this higher time frame what kind of zone we have there. So let's zoom in.
Oh, actually, it's midnight one.
So here, these red candles would be engulfed. Should have plugged in my mouse. Let me zoom that in so you can see it. This red candle is being engulfed by this bullish. So this bearish candle is being engulfed by this bullish candle. And do you see what happened? We got a descending channel. And price is rejecting off of that zone. So I'm looking for a buy and a continuation to the upside. Now you're going to want to watch as price comes to these areas where you have bearish engulfing candles. And if it breaks through those areas, then you could be looking for price to come all the way up to here where this top bearish candle is. So I'm looking for an overall buy on EG. Drop it down to a lower time frame. You have an impulse, correction, continuation, correction, continuation, correction, continuation, correction, descending channel, reversal impulse, correction. It could possibly be making an ascending channel right here. So let's look and see. So yes. This is our overall descending channel into that zone from the higher time frame. We have our impulse. We have an ascending channel creating. So this tells me that price is going to bounce back off and pull back down into this zone again before buying up. So my thought, watch for this to pull down. Watch in this area. Enter a buy. You can scalp it to the top of that descending channel, which would be about 70 pips. Or you can hold on to it and wait for the breakout for it to make its move to the upside. So knowing these flag patterns, knowing these reversal patterns, knowing where you are overall in the market, because it's in a correction, this flag itself is in a downtrend. So you could watch for price to come here. It could reject and pull back, give you a correction back to here, and then make its actual impulse out. So that is Euro GBP. So overall uptrend on the higher time frame, downtrend on the lower time frame because it's in a correction state. So let's look at USD Cad. Maybe. Okay. So USD CAD. Look for my highs and my lows. See again, price whipped last month into this candle from December 2015. So I'm going to mark it all the way back because that's important for me to understand why price came to that area. When if it comes back to that area again, I want to be able to watch it. Weekly. You see we have a little bit of a gap here in price. Typically when you see gaps like this, price is going to pull back at least into those areas. We are in an overall uptrend. On the weekly. On the daily, again, uptrend. We have an impulse and a correction is starting to form. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for my continuation to the upside. Now I know when it comes into this area, because twice in the last 5 years, when prices come to this area, it's rejected off of it. So I know that when I get price into this area, I'm going to watch it for a reversal. So let's break it down and see how we're going to get there. So again, we have our impulse. We have our corrective flag. I have an impulse here. I have a correction here. So knowing this, price is going to sell down to the bottom of this flag. I'm going to watch price in this area and buy from there. And I'll watch price here to see if it's going to actually break through that flag and give me my continuation, or if it's going to give me an ascending channel. And sell back down and retest that bottom. And then buy back up. So let's hone in on this area. So I can see a couple of engulfing candles in that area that I can watch for a significant zone. I have one here. Let's look on a higher time frame. I have one here. Look on the next highest time frame. This one is the one that I want to look for. The higher the time frame that you find these zones are on, the stronger it is. So if price is going to reverse here, it's going to reverse in this area and then come back down. If price doesn't give us a reversal pattern in this area, it's going to break through this flag and give us our continuation to the upside. So basically with this one, it's just patience. If you want to try and scalp the flag, you can. The flag itself. Make it there. This is probably news. I would wait for it to at least pull up into here. And then look for that sell down, which is about 300 pips, depending on where it actually pulls into. And if you look right here, you have a bullish engulfing zone right there. So price could realistically pull right there and come. If it aggressively moves down, then look left and look for a zone down in this area and look for that reversal. So overall, I'm looking for a buy on the higher time frames on USD Cad. It's not quite ready for the buy. So if you want to scalp from the top of the flag to the bottom of the flag, just be cautious of where you are in the market, protect your profits, and look for that area. So those are just a couple of pairs. I just wanted you guys to be able to see my markup process. If you have certain pairs that you'd like me to do this for you, feel free to shout it out. I want to make sure that we're all winning successfully as a team, and I'm going to try and do this more often for you guys just so that everybody can see. So I'm going to continue marking up over the weekend while the market is closed. I'll try and have all of my charts done by Sunday. If anyone wants to mark up together, we can try and do a Zoom on Sunday. I have a couple of training sessions that I'm doing for other members on the team tomorrow, but we can set some time aside on Sunday as well to look at the charts together. I hope everybody has an awesome night, an awesome weekend, and I will talk to everybody soon.